Hi everyone, Jennifer here, back with another edition of Book Talk. And this book is from a series that is one of my favorites, been one of my favorites for many, many years. And it is a fantasy adventure book, and that book is DragonLance Chronicles 1, Dragons of Autumn Twilight. Lifelong friends, they went their separate ways. Now they are together again, though each holds secrets from the others in his heart. They speak of a world shadowed with rumors of war. They speak of tales of strange monsters, creatures of myth, creatures of legend. They do not speak of their secrets. Not then. Not until a chanced encounter with a beautiful, sorrowful woman, who bears a magical crystal staff, draws the companions deeper into the shadows, forever changing their lives and shaping the fate of the world. No one expected them to be heroes, least of all themselves. Okay, highlights of the book. This book was published back in 1984, so it's about 30-some, close to 40 years old, but still a great book. And as I stated earlier, it is a fantasy adventure book and was written or co-written by, and I hope I pronounced their names right. If I don't, I apologize, Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman. And the book is 39 chapters in 2 parts, plus 2 poems/songs, one at the beginning and one at the end. There also are a smattering of little songs throughout the story as well. Okay, things I liked about this book. I loved everything about this book. Now, I don't think this was the book that got me started in DragonLance. A lot of the DragonLance books are, number one, they're not written by the same authors all the time. The trilogy, this book, and then the other 2 that follow it, Dragons of Winter Night and Dragons of Spring Dawn are, and there are a few others that are as well. But for the most part, it's different authors contributing to this fantasy world. So again, I don't think this was the first book that got me into DragonLance. It's been a while, so I can't remember the exact name of the first one. I do know it was either this one or The Dragons, which chronicles the history of the dragons of the world this story takes place in. Or Tears of the Night Sky. I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of those. It was one of those 3. I loved the characters. This is, as I stated, it's a fantasy novel or a fantasy book, so it's got characters in it that are from races that you would expect in a fantasy novel. You have a knight. You have twin brothers. One is a warrior, one is a mage. You have a dwarf. You have an archer who happens to be of elven descent. He's a half-elf. Then you have barbarians. You have 2 barbarians or plainsmen. And then you have full-blooded elves as well. You have goblins and a subspecies of dwarf called a gully dwarf. You have a member of a wandering race known as the Kinder, which is a race specifically from this series, which I love Kinders. I mean, really the only one we have a lot of contact with is Tasselhoff Barefoot, who is the Kinder from this story, or this trilogy. He's among the group of friends. But from the description of Kinders, they are all very similar. They love to travel. They love to, quote unquote, acquire things. And they are a species that is extremely curious and knows no fear. So yeah, always a great combination right there. And Tass attributes, has a lot of these qualities. He loves to travel. He will acquire things that belong to other people, even his friends. And he's not really afraid of a lot of stuff. So we have that, and we also have, of course, dragons. In this book, we only really see 2 types of dragons. We see red dragons, and we see one black dragon. But, slight spoiler alert, I mean, it's not going to be much of a spoiler for this book, but just for the series. There are 10 different types of dragons. We have the red and the black dragons, which are seen in this book. We also have blue dragons, and white dragons, and green dragons, and these are all dragons that were created by the Queen of Darkness, and then created by the Valiant Warrior, who is one of the gods of the light. The Queen of Darkness is obviously a god of darkness. We have the silver dragons, which are my personal favorite dragons, the gold dragons, which are my second personal favorite dragons, the copper dragons, the brass dragons, and the bronze dragons. But right now, the only dragons we've seen are the reds. We see 2 reds, although there are many more that are mentioned, and we see 1 black. There are gods. We really only see 2 actually interacting with, well, kind of 3, interacting with the people, and I said 1 at first because I forgot the Dark Queen doesn't completely interact with the people in the story, but she does. And then the goddess of healing, whose name escapes me, it starts with an M, but I can't think of it. She doesn't directly interact with everyone. I mean, we don't see her outside of a statue, but she does have a part to play in the story. But yeah, I love the characters. I love the plot line. The plot line was great. And, you know, your typical fantasy adventure, you know, friends meeting after a length of time, in this case 5 years. Set out on a quest for the fate of the world. And in this case, it's finding the secrets. Well, in this particular book, it's finding the secrets of the blue crystal staff. And we'll talk about what the others are later on in the series, because I will do the other books continuing with Dragons of Winter Night and Dragons of Spring Dawn, and then we'll move into the others as well, I promise. Character-wise, you know, a lot of interesting characters in here. Some that don't make it to the next book, mostly the bad guys. But we have, among the heroes, we have, and if I mispronounce any of their names, I apologize. We have Tanis, also known as Tantalus, half-elven. He is, of course, the half-elf, if his name wasn't a big giveaway. Then we have Flint Fireforge, who is the dwarf, and they are the 2 oldest of the group. Flint is supposed to be, I believe, 148. Let me just double check that. Yes, 148. He is 148. And Tanis is supposed to be 102 in this story. But because he's got elven blood in him, he is described as looking like he's in his 30s. And that's just the elven blood in him. Elves live for a very long time. Then we have the twin brothers, Kiramon and Raceland. And here's where I'm probably going to trip over a name. Magyar, I believe is how you say their last name. And if I didn't get that right, I apologize. And Kiramon is the warrior. He is the older of the 2 brothers. and he is the bigger and the stronger of the two. And Raceland is the mage. He's the younger one, and he has always been the frailer of the two. Then we have Tasselhoff Barefoot. I basically already described him. He's the little kinder. And then the fifth member of the group is the knight. In the movie, because yes, there was a movie made off of this, he is referred to as Stern Brightblade. I call him Strum Brightblade. So however you pronounce it, that's his name. It's S-T-R-U-M is how you spell his name? S-T-U-R-M is how you spell his name. So, however you want to pronounce it, that he's the knight. Then we're introduced to the two plainsmen, Goldmoon and Riverwind. And then we're introduced to the elves. The two elves we have a lot of full-blood elves. The two full-blood elves we have a lot of interaction with are Tanis's quote-unquote cousins. And again, I'm probably going to trip over the names here. Gildathan and Lorana. And I say quote-unquote cousins because he was raised in their family. His mother was married to their uncle, but he really doesn't have any blood connection to them. But we'll get more into that when we get to the book Kindred Spirits, I promise. This is just to give you a little idea of what the characters are. And then we get into the villains. We have Vertimancer and his dragon. He calls him Ember, but the dragons call him Pyro. And then we have another elderly dragon, who the humans call Flamestrike, and I can't pronounce her actual dragon name. And those are basically the main character. Oh, and we have Fizzbane, who's a wizard. And Antika, who is a barmaid in Solace, which is where the story opens. And those are basically the main characters of the story. The main characters, of course, are Tanis, Flint, Strum, the twins, Tass, Flint, Goldmoon, and Riverwind. Those are the main characters. Those are the ones who initially go out on the quest. And there is another character who is mentioned in the book, but does not make an appearance until the second book, and that is the twins' older half-sister, Kitiara. And again, she's mentioned in the book, but she doesn't really appear in the book. Okay, please leave your comments and questions in the comment section. I do love to read those. Please like and share this video if you're watching on Facebook, or like and subscribe if you haven't already, if you're watching on YouTube. And feel free to follow me on Wattpad, Tumblr, Instagram, and Twitter. I do have my name for those 4 sites right there on the screen, as well as the pictures I use for the icons. Please note that all pictures seen within this video do belong to their respective artists. I own absolutely nothing. And the link for the four sites I mentioned will be in the description section if that makes it any easier for you guys. Okay, quick reminder on my comment rules. Okay, keep an eye out for my next books in the series. I have already done at least one video on for Book Talk. And feel free to check out my other book talk videos. And my other videos. Okay, before we sign off, a few things I'd like to touch on. First off, YouTube subscribers. Any of my videos that cannot be found on YouTube are on my Facebook page. The link will be in the description section. Facebook friends. Basically the same deal. Any of my videos that can't be found on Facebook are on my YouTube channel. The link will be in the description section. And for anyone who's interested, you can feel free to check out my Facebook group, Fanfic Corner. The link will be in the description section. Okay, as always, thank you for watching, and have a very nice day.